Hello, everybody. This is John Paval with Access Arts Live, and this week's big stage production roundup. And by big stage, I mean orchestral works, symphonies, and the like. I mean large-scale choral works like the Bach B minor Mass, which is coming up this week. I also mean opera, and we have two full-scale operas being live streamed for you this week, both of them free of charge. I also mean, what else do I mean? I also mean ballet, and we have a ballet coming up for you next Monday, I think it is. I think it's on the 22nd, but I will get to it specifically so you'll know before I'm done. Before I go any further, let me remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching this on any of our other platforms, there are 6 of them, do yourself a favor and follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live. We're on Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. We want to be wherever you are, so whenever you're doing your daily net surfing or visiting your habitual platform, all you have to do is wander over and check out Access Arts Live. Now, having said that, let me get on to the first of this week's live streams and tell you all about it because it will be tomorrow already. And I have a photograph here of the main players, and I even have their names above it because some of these names you may know, some of these people you may not know. St. Petersburg Philharmonic's 25th International Winter Festival continues with another Beethoven tribute this Tuesday, December 16th, with a live stream of Beethoven's Concerto for violin, cello, piano, and orchestra, and Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, with the conductor being the top violinist Yuri Bashmet, and the soloist, violinist Vadim Repin, cellist Alexander Ram, and pianist Ekaterina Mechetina. This will be, they started this festival already on Saturday, and you would know about it because we told you about it, with a live stream by the St. Petersburg Philharmonic. They did Beethoven's Piano Concerto No. 1 and Brahms's Fourth. And I even sang for you the opening bars of Brahms's Fourth. Anyway, this concert is not the St. Petersburg Phil itself. It's the New Russia State Symphony. This was one of these organizations that was created after the fall of the Soviet Union. So it was one of the first Russian institutions set up in 1990. Yuri Bashmet, the top violinist and conductor, took over the thing in 2010 and raised it to an international level. They've done over 1,200 concerts since then. And among the kind of concerts they do, they have a series called Parallel Worlds, where they mix in poetry readings and 3D projections of paintings by Russian avant-garde artists with playing works by Rachmaninoff, Prokofiev, and Stravinsky. So it's very Russian, but it's very advanced technologically. And I like that kind of thing. Anyway, and the soloist here, Vadim Repin, is a very well-known international violinist. Alexander Ram and Ekaterina Mechetina are at the top of their class. Should be a fine concert added to this International Winter Festival. But that isn't the only concert. Wait, did I give you the time? The time for that is, it's a little early because it's at 8 o'clock in the evening in Moscow time. That makes it 6 o'clock in Europe, noon on the East Coast, and 9 in the morning on the West Coast. Convenient viewing times. Okay, next up, and starting an hour later on Tuesday, we have another concert with multiple participants. So let me get them all up on board for you so you can see all of them at once. And do I have an image of all of them at once? No, I don't. So I'll just have to talk about them one at a time, I guess. And now you got one of them anyway. Tuesday, December 16th, the Beethoven Orchestra Bonn returns to its historic venue after a decade of historic renovation to play Beethoven, Glojnarić, and Mahler, with pianist Fabian Müller, soprano Katharina von Bennigsen, alto Gerhild Romberger, and organist Cameron Carpenter on the Claes organ, which has also been renovated there. This was a 10-year renovation program, so it's been a long time since the Beethoven Orchestra Bonn has played in their home offices. Fabian, the Beethoven will be Beethoven's Piano Concerto Number 4 in G Major, Opus 58. Fabian Müller will be playing that, and if you follow Access Arts Live once again, he was live streamed all last year by Stage Plus because Daniel Barenboim at the Pierre Boulez Hall in Berlin invited him to come in and play all 32 Beethoven sonatas, which he did 4 at a time. So it was a series of 8 different live streams on Stage Plus at €9.90 a pop. The other pieces they'll be doing, they'll open with Beethoven's overture to his ballet, The Creatures of Prometheus in C Major, Opus 43. And then they'll do a piece by Mahler Glojnarić, which is very contemporary, composed in 2022, called Everything Always. Because, you know, that's the way things get names in contemporary music, which I really like. I mean, I find that more interesting than Quartet Number 3 in C Major. Anyway, and then to finish up, they'll do Mahler's Symphony Number 2 in C minor, the Resurrection Symphony. And they've got an interesting group of singers come in to sing on that. Let me give you their 2 pictures while I'm still talking about them. Hold on a second. Here's one of them, Katharina von Bennigsen, and the other is Gerhild Romberger, who's more senior and who's the real star of this particular Mahler symphony production. I'll tell you why in just a second. Let me get her photo up for you. And now I lost the other photos on. Oh, do I make mistakes? Gee, I make mistakes and I make mistakes and I make mistakes, folks. Technical mistakes, little things like that. And little things like forgetting to put up the logo, which I just did. There you go. Okay. The younger singer, she's the soprano. That's Katharina von Bennigsen. She was a member of the ensemble at the Semperoper in Dresden for about 6 years, 2018, 2024, when she moved over and joined the Theater Bonn. So now she's a local in Bonn, and in 24 and 25, she's played leading roles in different operas in both of those ensembles. And then Gerhild Romberg, the alto there in the larger photo, she has sung Mahler's 3rd and 8th symphonies with Andres Nelson's, with the Boston Symphony Orchestra, with the orchestra, with the Radio France Orchestra. She did a recording of singing in Mahler's 3rd Symphony with the Bavarian Radio Symphony Orchestra, which was Recording of the Year in BBC Music Magazine in 2018. And a decade ago, she came out with her own solo CD of songs by Gustav Mahler. So she's a Mahler specialist that you're going to hear from in this particular concert. If you're one of those Mahler lovers, or if you're a Beethoven lover, this is for you. Well, that wasn't too many mistakes. Now we move on to, what do we move on to? I think we move on to a concert that I don't have a photograph to tell you about. Yeah. If you're lucky, the Tapiola Sinfonietta and the Usenkari music classes choir will be live streaming their annual Christmas concert of traditional carols in new choral and orchestral arrangements, some in other languages and some in Finnish. And that's on Friday, December 19th. That'll be at 6 o'clock in the evening, European time, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast, 7 o'clock there in Espoo, Finland, where Tapiola is located. The conductor is Arturo Alvarado, and they will have presenters, including 2 students from the Usenkari school. This will be a fun sort of community Christmas concert, but it's the Tapiola Sinfonietta, which is a top chamber orchestra. And I am guessing that the Usenkari music classes choir is the top music school in the area. So have fun. But as I say, I don't have a photo for that, and I'm not even sure if they're going to be live streaming that one. So, and that's true about another concert that I'll tell you about in just a minute. But next, we want to talk about this concert. Friday, December 19th, ARD Klassik, the German live stream outfit, live streams Velchua, the conductor, with violinist Christian Tetzlaff, performing late 19th century masterworks, Suk's Fantasy for Violin and Orchestra, Dvorak's Othello, and Tchaikovsky's Sixth, the Symphonie Pathétique. All of these are from the 1890s or like the beginning of the 2000s, or beginning of the 1900s. The Suk Fantasy was 1902, 1903. The other 2 were early 1890s. I mean, this is real period music that you'll be hearing. Juraj Valchua, the composer, the conductor, if you don't know him, he's the AD and chief conductor of the Houston Symphony, and that's a top symphony orchestra in the U.S. And Christian Tetzlaff is one of the top international violinist. And again, if you follow Access Arts Live, then you would have known that Christian, along with pianist Leif Ove Ansnes, did an appearance at Wigmore Hall, the top chamber music hall, in mid-September, and you could have tuned in and enjoyed that. This live stream will be for free, as with all ARD Classic live streams. The symphony, the orchestra is the SWR Symphony Orchestra, which is located in Stuttgart and in the surrounding areas. And it will be at 8 o'clock in the evening, European time, 2 o'clock on the East Coast, 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, 6 o'clock in the morning down under in Australia on Saturday. That's not all that we have for you on Friday, though, because the Sao Paolo Phil, also known as OSESP, is going to be live streaming this Friday as well, according to my best sources. And sometimes you just never know with these orchestras. Okay, Friday, December 19th, the Sao Paulo Phil under house conductor Thierry Fischer, that guy you see there conducting very vigorously in white tie, conducts the overture to Braga's opera Jupira, Bruch's violin concerto with top pianist Augustin Hadalic at the keyboard, and it finishes its season-long performances of Tchaikovsky's symphonies with his Symphony No. 5. That is not the Symphonie Pathétique. That's at 8 o'clock Brazilian time in Sao Paulo, which will make it at 7 o'clock in New York City and elsewhere on the East Coast, 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the West Coast in LA and Seattle and San Francisco, 1 o'clock in the morning here in Europe. Francisco Braga is a Brazilian composer from late 19th, early 20th centuries. He's the composer who authored the Brazilian national anthem. And OSESP, the orchestra, recorded his opera Jupira in 2002, 25 years ago. Anyway, they're playing his overture to the opera Jupira. Then Augustin Hadalic, who is one of the top violinist in the world. Again, we have a number of top violinists playing this weekend. I don't know why that happened. He'll be playing Max Bruch's a very romantic violin concerto number 1 in G minor. If you're a lover of romantic music, you'll love that. It's Opus 26. And then they'll finish up their season-long playing of Tchaikovsky's symphonies with the Fifth. But that's not all that we have for you on Friday. There's still more. And the more is really terrific. I'm so happy about it, but I'm not going to tell you much about it because it's an opera and I have to do the opera separately. Why? Because I need to go into the different, at least the 4 main singers, the conductor, the staging, the story, and I can't fit that into this format of, going one after the other of all these things. It just takes too much time. There are a couple photos, production photos from this opera, and it's the Vienna State Opera, which is one of the top ones in the world. And folks, it's free of charge. This is the I don't know, the 5th or 6th live stream they've done this fall. Vienna State Opera is back with another full performance live stream Friday, December 19th. This time it's Beethoven's Fidelio with conductor Franz Welser-Möst, staging by Niklaus Hamjan, and performances by Malin Bistro, David Butt-Philip, Christopher Maltman, Simona Strasdas, Tariq Nazmi, Katrin Zukovsky, and Daniel Jentz. This will be at 7 o'clock in the evening European time, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, a lunchtime opera for you, or 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, a late breakfast. It's a story about the reign of terror in a Spanish prison, and a wife who's trying to protect her husband who's been imprisoned there insinuates herself into the staff of the prison to save her husband. And I'm not going to tell you whether or not she succeeds in saving him or not. Is this one of these operas where just everything ends horribly, or is it one where things end well? Well, tune in and enjoy it. I will do a full write-up on that later this week. I'll do that before Friday, I promise. It'll probably come out on Thursday, late Thursday evening here in Europe. And now we can then move on to the next one. But that's really something to look forward to. That's top quality opera coming from the Vienna State Opera House. And free of charge. And so often I see people on social media saying, "Oh, I've never been to an opera. How do I go about doing it?" We start doing it this way, folks. Subscribe, follow us. Okay, now we have something that I always love to promote, sand animation with an orchestra. The Tomsk Philharmonic continues to explore new media on Friday, Saturday, December 19th and 20th. With full-scale sand animation by artist Ekaterina Birukova or Barukova. I'm not sure from the spelling of the name, along with the music from Tchaikovsky's Nutcracker, performed by the Tomsk Philharmonic under the baton of principal guest conductor, the Denis Nemirovich Danchenko. I had trouble finding who was the real person doing the sand animation, but I was able to put up some samples for you of sand animation. I find it hypnotically, enchantingly beautiful. And so as the orchestra is playing music from the Nutcracker Ballet, the sand animation artist will be creating one beautiful image after another, and they're going to have a giant screen in the hall there, and you will get to see that screen while you're watching it. There will also be narration in Russian, but you don't need the narration. The pictures tell the story. So I recommend that to you. The Roman Catholic Cathedral in Moscow does this on a regular basis with a different sand artist. His name is Lydia Miller. So. And as soon as I get the right name, we'll probably do a separate clip about this. And I promise to get the right name. I've already contacted the person who I think it is, but they didn't spell her name correctly, so it may not be her. But I contacted her on Instagram to find out. So I'll be able to give you the straight dope and give her the full credit she deserves, whoever she may be, whether it's Barukovich or Barukova or. It's just a mess the way they described it. Okay, what do we have up next? Yes. And this one is going to take a separate clip too, I think, when we come to it. Saturday, December 20th, early music expert Raphael Pichon leads the Berlin Phil, the Rias Kammerchor, and soloist in the Lutheran composer Johann Sebastian Bach's most Catholic masterpiece, the Mass in B minor, with soloist Nicola Hillebrand, soprano, Xenia Puskars-Thomas, mezzo, Beth Taylor, an alto, Emiliano Gonzalez, the tenor, and Montague Rendall, the baritone, and Christian Immler, the bass. So that's the Bach B minor Mass. It's Raphael Pichon started out as a countertenor in France, singing early music, and turned into a conductor. Already 10, 15 years ago, they were hailing him as the new star of early music in France and internationally. So he's the top guy. That's the actually original score of Bach's B minor Mass is stored in Berlin. And this is the Berlin Philharmonic. So this is down the street from them at the Staatsbibliothek, the Berlin State Library. So for them, it's a big deal. They store that manuscript, by the way, at 18 degrees Celsius and 50% humidity. So that's in the program notes. Anyway, you might ask yourself, the program notes also ask, what could have motivated Bach, who was really a devout Lutheran, to set the entire Mass text of the Catholic liturgy to music? Why didn't he put a Lutheran text? I don't know. He himself never heard it before. Okay, is there any more? Yes, there's more, but I don't have the picture for the more. So I will continue and I will tell you about it. And it's another opera. We've got another opera coming up this week. It's great. Sunday, December 21st, Opera Streaming. The group of Italian opera houses returns with a live stream of Giuseppe Verdi's Stifegno. This is a co-production of 3 Italian opera houses in Piacenza, Modena, and Reggio Emilia, with conductor Leonardo Sinni and performances by Gregory Kunde, Lydia Friedman, Vladimir Stonyanov, Carlo Raffaelli, and more. This will be at 3:30 in the afternoon on Sunday afternoon, 9:30 in the morning here in Europe, 9:30 in the morning on the East Coast, 6:30 in the morning on the West Coast, late night, 1:30 at night on the East Coast, is it? In Sydney and in Melbourne in Australia, but not so late at night if you're in Perth, out there on their West Coast. I think it'll probably be a couple hours early, 11:30 in the evening. Anyway, I'll do a separate write-up about that, giving you more information about them, pictures of the different performers, etc., when the time comes. And we wind up with one more live stream to tell you about, which I also don't have a photograph of for you yet. But if I do a separate clip, I'll dig up some kind of photograph for it. Monday, December 22nd, the Tomsk Philharmonic will be live streaming the Nutcracker Ballet, as performed by soloists from the Novosibirsk State Academic Opera and Ballet Theater and from the Petit Pas Ballet School out there in the Tomsk region. Petit Pas means little steps, the Little Steps Ballet School. Anyway, so that'll be mixed students, but with soloists from the Novosibirsk State Opera and Ballet Theater. And that'll be at 7 o'clock in the evening, Krat time, which is Siberian time, 1 o'clock in the afternoon here in Europe, 8 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, and 11 o'clock in the evening down under in Australia, in Melbourne and Sydney, but earlier in the day, earlier in the evening, like 9 o'clock in Perth. One other thing I want to mention, the Gulbenkian Orchestra and Choir may be live streaming their performance of Handel's Messiah on Saturday, December 20th, but I can't confirm it yet because their website and their YouTube channel do not yet tell me that they're going to be live streaming. So we're at the point now where we're doing daily. I'm doing daily live stream updates. So if you follow us or subscribe to us, you just check out the daily live stream update, which is usually done roughly around noon here in Europe. So when you get up in the morning, if you're in the U.S., you can double check that each day and find out, well, what live streams are going on today. And wonder of wonders, I expect that by the time we get to January, we may actually have a separate website which you can download to your phone, where when you open it, you immediately see the list of live streams for the day. So you don't have to dig through all these videos that we put up on our 7 different platforms. You just have to open your phone and say, wow, it's 2:00 on Tuesday. There's a live stream coming in right now. Who would have thunk? Anyway, so I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to remind you, wherever you may be watching this, if you're watching on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching on any of our other platforms, do yourself a favor. Follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live free of charge for more than 1,000 live performances online every year. That's like 20 a week on average. You can do that on Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. I'll be signing off now. I will be back tomorrow, Tuesday, December 16th, with the roundup of organ recitals. There'll be very few of those, and with the roundup of chamber music, and there could be a certain number of those coming up tomorrow. Ciao for now, and thanks for tuning in.